Well, it's about time we got syphilis. So, let's make syphilis in Blender. We don't want the default cube, so we're going to X out of that. And we do want a circle. I don't really care if it is a mesh circle or a curved circle. Any circle should work. The problem with a curved circle is eventually you're going to have to make it not curved. So I'm going to hit 1 on the number pad, so to look at it from the front view, and then I want to rotate it on the X by 90 degrees, so R, X, 90, enter. And then I'm going to go into Tab, Edit Mode, and I'm going to move this over. I'm also going to scale it down a little bit. Not that that really matters right now. You can always do that later. And now I want to go into the modifiers, add modifier, and I want to use screw. And you see we have this here, which is fantastic. But it's not exactly what we want. We want syphilis. And so let's go up a little bit on this so we can see what's going on here. Let's try all these different modes. These axes, that's a nice little feature there. Along the Y is what I actually want. So I want it to look more like actual syphilis. I want it to kind of move around. This is the height, so it's going up 10, 20, 30, 45 meters according to the Blender scale. I really only want it to be maybe 8, so really small. And now we're starting to get the baseline of our syphilis. So let's rotate it around a little bit more. Say, let's go with 1440. And let's make that taller. And it looks absolutely horrid. What in the hay? Well, that's where our steps come in. Let's move that up there a little bit. Look down on it, get really close. That's starting to look better. That's even better. I like that. Let's do that. Maybe spread it out a little bit more. Make it a little bit thinner. This is the only geometry we have to play with. Right here is this circle. All this is just an extension of this. So if we scale that circle down, it makes it thinner. So make it as fat or as thin as you want, doesn't really matter. Just whatever looks right to you. That looks good. Whenever you're done, not saying you have to be done now, you can always play around with it a little bit more to get it however you want it to look. You want to hit apply, but don't hit apply yet, because what we've done is the steps for the viewport. We also need to make sure that we translate that to the render. Otherwise, you're going to get that squarish crap that we were looking at before. So whenever you're done, just hit apply. And now if we go into edit mode, now we can see our geometry. You can unwrap this if you want to, but I don't want to mess with unwrapping right now. What I do want to mess with is capping these open ends. So let's zoom in there. Too far. And I am going to go to Edge Select. Hit Alt. Well, first I'm going to hit Alt A. Make sure nothing else is selected. Then I'm going to hit Alt and then left click to select that entire rim. And you can do it a lot of different ways, but I'm just going to hit F, Alt A to deselect everything. And now we want to go to the other end. So I'm going to zoom out, select something there, hit the number pad period, zoom out a little bit, hit Alt, and just in between the vertices, hit the edge and hit F, and there we are. Now we can go out of edit mode and start doing shading. So go into the shading, and I use two different materials. So let's hit new. I'm going to use the principled BSDF with both materials. So I'm going to Shift D and then just move that down. Material 1, Material 2. For the first material, I am going to use a fabric, which I believe is a polygon material. Fabric Denim 03. And just pick that up, pull it down. I'm going to change it to Filmic. If I don't like it, I can always change it later. And I'm going to put that into the base color. And now I can use a texture map, but I'm not going to use the texture map for the denim. Instead, I am going to use a texture map for concrete. I'm going to use a normal map. And honestly, I have no idea where I got this one from. I'll have to do a video on where my textures are. And so I'm going to jack that into the normal of both principled BSDFs. But as you know, that's not right. Shift A, vector normal map, and then duplicate that one. And there we go. Let's go in there and take a look. The next thing I want to do is add a texture here, which is actually going to be the concrete. And just jack that one into that one. And we're not seeing the concrete show up here because we need to mix these two. So Shift A, Shader, Mix Shader. And I'm okay with the factor being 50-50. What I'm not okay with is it being on the bottom, because that just kind of looks tacky. But to each his own. So what I want to do is I want to, if you have the Node Wrangler add-on, Edit, Preferences, Node, in the add-on section here. Make sure you got that checked. On this one right here, select that one. Hit Control T. And I am going to rotate Z by 45. And while I'm here, change that to Filmic Log. And change this one to Object. And let's see where we are. And then I'm also going to use this vector as a factor for this mix shader. And that's a whole lot better. Kind of hard to see, but you can see that it's distributed a little bit differently. Move that light up. In fact, let's shrink this whole thing right here. It's kind of big. Move that light over a little bit. And now you can see a little bit better what's going on here. So I'm going to extend that light a little bit, make it bigger. And let's see where we are. That's so much better. We can also make it a little bit more bumpy by changing the geometry a little bit of this guy. of our syphilis. And I'm going to do that by adding a modifier, displace. And while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and set the strength down to 0.05. I'm going to hit New. And then go down here to the texture properties. I'm going to select from the drop-down menu the magic texture. That gives it a little bit of extra bump there. And I'm going to keep these settings right here. But let's make them ridiculous. So that's not bad. And let's go the other end. So you want to find something in between. It's just, what we really want is just something kind of subtle, but something very noticeable. Let's check out our ends and see what they look like. Not the best, but better than unwrapping. We just wanted to cap on it anyway. So yeah, there's that. And so the next thing we want to do is we just want to set up our picture. Don't want a background? Set that down to 32. I like cycles. I know people like Eevee. I want cycles. Make sure nothing changed about our displacement modifier. Looks a little bit better though. While we're here, uncheck that. Check this. And under render, AO bounces 2. Under film, transparent, if that's what you want. It makes it easier to implant this into other images if you do it that way. Under performance, whatever your test revealed to you, that's what you put in here. And I don't think I want to do the denoiser, but let's set up our camera. Control Alt number pad 0. And that's a little bit big. So I'm going to hit N. Lock camera to view. And there. Now it's time to render. And we're done. Save it. And you can always add skin. Skin's actually pretty easy. Use a displacement for your plane. Make it very subtle. Clouds works really good to make those little dimples that add a little bit of shade. But yeah. We used a screw modifier to make syphilis. There's irony in there that shouldn't probably be said publicly. If you liked this video, make sure you click like, subscribe. You can also check out my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whichever one floats your boat. But yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye.